and Sansa, Goa police, and she got a big clientele in corporate sector, hotel, Hyatt Centric, Maharaja, Big Daddy Casino, Binani Fiberglass. She treated people with with diverse cultural backgrounds from India and from foreign countries. She has experience of prescribing opioid substitution therapy. She wrote articles in news dailies about mental health, consulted as an expert by journalists for local news dailies to provide references in their articles. She has interviewed various psychiatrists on Doordarshan and other local TV channels. She has conducted mental health talks in school, colleges and various organizations. She received COVID Warrior Award from IMA Goa. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a big list, but I think we are running short of time. So ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause, let's welcome Dr. Priyanka Sahasrabhojanee. And may I request Dr. Naresh Phate, Medical Inspector of Factories and Boilers, a certifying surgeon, to kindly welcome Dr. Priyanka Sahasrabhojanee. Dosto, taliyan? Yes, very good. Thank you. And Dr. Priyanka is going to speak for half an hour on the topic mental health at workplace, strategies for promoting well-being. Thank you. And soon after this, we are going to have the closing ceremony. So once the session is over, please don't leave this place. It's a very short closing ceremony we are going to have. Okay? So doctor, all set? You need to use this mic? Yeah. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to everyone here. And it's a real privilege to have the house full in a post-lunch session. So thank you very much for that. I feel flattered here. And I'm going to speak about the most important resource, and that's you in this conference. Yeah? So today, if you scroll through any Instagram story or any social media channel, do you know which are the most searched after topics? Especially among people who are below the age of 30, if they are your employees or your employers. Generally, they are depression, anxiety, ADHD, stress. These are the most Googled words. And yes, it's a pity that the #1 health problem of the world today is mental health problem. It has overtaken all other problems. So that's the reason we are going to talk about it. Yeah, So why does it matter? It's not a personal issue. It's related to business. It's a business issue because the statistics are really glaring. The statistics are 1 in 6 people experience mental health problem in work, every 6th person here. 60% people, you will say ये तो सबको होता है. सबको होता है इसलिए problem है because 60% people are not happy at their workplace globally. It's a matter of concern. Yeah? Okay. You will hear a lot of people, आज lose motion हो रहा है नहीं आऊँगा, आज सर दर्द कर रहा है नहीं आऊँगा. Believe me, half the people are bunking office because of a mental health crisis. Yeah, and it's showing here. The stats are here. Globally, around 12 billion working days, that is 50 million years of work, are lost to depression and anxiety. Statistics are glaring. Yeah, so mental health issues cost global economy around $1 trillion every year. Look at the resource that is going wasted, and it can actually be prevented. So this is the reason we are here today to talk about it. And so people say, अरे burnout हो गया, burnout क्या है? ये फालतू बेकार लोगों की काम है. But no, unfortunately, it's no more बेकार लोगों का काम. Burnout is officially listed just like diabetes, blood pressure, dengue, COVID, by WHO, World Health Organization, in one of its most exhaustive health manuals, that is ICD-10. If you go through ICD-10, it's officially listed as a disorder and there are proper criteria laid for burnout. It's a serious issue. So this needs to be addressed. Burnout is nothing else, but that's when a person experiences physical, mental and emotional exhaustion. And it could be due to various reasons. If we have some higher level executives and safety officers sitting here, unfortunately they are most at prone with it, but that doesn't mean they are the only ones who are prone to it. So yes, you need to look after yourself. Okay, some other really glaring problems. Stress is a very big umbrella problem. Stress could be due to anything and everything. Stress doesn't have to be one emotion, by the way. It doesn't have to be just depression or anxiety. It could be a full spectrum. you see a co-worker lashing out at everybody, it's likely he is stressed out. Yeah, so it covers all the emotions. ठीक है ना? So it's normal to have. Tell me one person here who is not stressed. If you are not stressed at work even once, भाई कुछ खास नहीं कर रहे हो. Okay, everybody has been through stress at work, but when does it become an issue? When it's prolonged and it's affecting your performance, right? Another thing, anxiety. Again, सबको anxiety होता है. There is not. See, all these are emotions we all go through, except of course substance abuse. सबको होता है, but there are some guidelines कि beyond that, if you cross that limit, it's a problem. You need to seek help. Like for example, a day or two, if you have a presentation, you are anxious, fine. But if it is there for 2 days, 3 days, a week, month, years, and you are underperforming, you are not at your level best, it's a matter of concern, you need help. Yeah? Another is depression. That is, it's not just feeling sad, but it colors every aspect of your personal life. We have people who say, काम पे जाता हूँ, but just जाता हूँ, कुछ करने का ही मन नहीं करता है. I just sit there like a log, I'm so mechanical. And then he just says, I feel numb. These are some of the subtle features. A lot of people will be present at work, but just present at work. They will be just surviving somehow, but they will not be thriving. So this is another subtle sign. And it will color every aspect of their activity. सुबह brush करने के time, काम पे जाने के time, शाम को चाय के time, every single time, every activity is colored every time of the day, and it lasts really long, at least 2 weeks or more than that. That is what the criteria say, but that is a matter of worry. And of course, we get a lot of people कि काम बहुत stress हो रहा है, चलो थोड़ा टक, you know. So this is another thing. We see a lot of people using substances as an escape, but unfortunately it just doesn't become tuck, magir tuck जायत राहता, magir never know what happens. So this is another serious issue, substance abuse, which we need to address here, which is another fifth issue. And that's why you need to know what is good and what is bad for you at work. Who is prone to stress at work and who is not prone. If you have all the protective things, you are happy. Okay? Long work hours. I mean, there has been a real controversy a month or two ago when a very, very prominent chairperson, he made a remark about work hours. So there is a reason for that. Yeah? Because this is one reason. Okay, work pressure, workload. But are you delivering quality? So just increasing work hours, but at the same time there is no feedback. See, it doesn't have to be abuse at work. But if you're not being acknowledged, if fine, you're contributing something, or if you feel like you are good for nothing at work, or if there is just a silent treatment towards you, you just feel left alone, you feel you don't belong, that's also a kind of a burnout. So yes, you have to look at it. Toxic work culture में सब कुछ आता है. There is bullying also. These are all extreme cases. But basically feeling like I am very redundant at work, this is also a very important sign that the person is going through stress at work. And of course, this is a very haunting problem, job insecurity, which people are going through in certain sectors. That is the reason we see people jumping like monkeys from one job to other. Yeah. And the next is role ambiguity. कि भाई पोस्ट है मेरी एक, काम एक देते हैं, प्रमोशन भी नहीं कर रहे हैं, सैलरी इतनी दे रहे हैं, बस बोलते रहते हैं, सब्जेक्ट टू परफॉर्मेंस, कब है भाई अपने. So this is what it is. Yeah. So that is another thing. And then what can really help, that's why is you are told what is your clear job, ये काम है, ये करना है. If what are our expectations of a good work culture, कि आप deliver कर रहे हो अच्छा काम, means it should be very clear. If you are doing more than this, fine, we'll say you are good at work. So it gives an employee an incentive कि चलो, I could cross what I am doing. Yeah. Supportive supervisors, leaders can make it or break it. That's a real thing. Yeah. Another thing, if you feel like a family at work, you feel connected, you feel heard, if you feel you are there for each other, that's actually a good work environment, which is actually, I have highlighted later somewhere, why do people really quit? Yeah. And the next is there should be some autonomy. I should feel in control of the task that I am given. I shouldn't feel micromanaged by somebody else. I'm just a pawn. That's another important issue. Why? These are out of many issues, by the way, which I have highlighted, but these are the main ones where people would want to be addressed. And of course, mental health support after COVID, I don't want to tell everybody that what has happened. There has been doubling of stress related to work after COVID due to change in the way people are working post-COVID. Some are working remotely, which has added up to the stress. Yeah, of course, sometimes the family doesn't acknowledge, क्या खाली room में अकेले बैठा है, laptop देख रहे हो, कुछ नहीं काम. This is both way, meaning they just feel like they are not valued. So a lot of new problems have emerged post-COVID, and that's why we need to be a little more careful with this. Okay, I'm going to step a little aside and show you, if you hear this from any colleague, if they say this to you, or if you feel like that, please make sure you or that colleague gets help, okay? Like if you say, if anybody says, I feel like doing nothing, I just work for the sake of it, this could very well be a sign of burnout or anything different, okay? Like nothing seems to interest me. See, nobody is going to shout and say, my depression mein hu. Nobody says it. You have to sense it from what they say. And in Indian culture, we sit in our OPDs. These are employees, but at least we as educated population here are at least a little verbal about what's going through in our head. But if you see someone a little later or another, culture, they will say, सर भी दर्द कर रहा है, घुटने भी दर्द कर रहे हैं, धड़ धड़ भी हो रहा है, नींद भी नहीं आ रही है. वेरी म्यूजिकल कंप्लेंट, थड़ थड़ किस किस धड़ धड़ सगळे कंप्लेंट्स आहेत. So that's when the doctor sees, हाँ सगळे स्कॅन नॉर्मल आहे, सगळे ब्लड टेस्ट नॉर्मल. Such a big file, the person is doctor shopping, one doctor to other, just doctor hopping. Finally, with a lot of hesitation, the physician says, could you please see a psychiatrist? Yeah, how mental na? So this is the typical reaction that they get. Believe me, 9 out of 10 people who are told to see a psychiatrist don't go to a psychiatrist. Because how mental na? Yeah, and then they prolong the treatment by at least 10 years. This is a glowing statistics. They prolong the treatment by at least 10 years. So by the time they land up at a professional, it's too late. Then they say this doesn't work. So do not make that mistake. Yeah? Often they say, not now, maybe later. Okay, this is something. A lot of people feel that procrastination is laziness. Ata naka magir. But it's a very subtle sign of stress. Ata naka magir. Abhi nahi baad mein. Okay, my mind seems to wander out of control. I have been forgetful and absent-minded. I make the silliest mistakes at work. I often see some people, mistake ho gayi, shouldn't be reprimanding in the first go. First check the background. It could be the first sign of burnout or stress. Making mistakes at work. Yeah? It's so difficult to stay happy. I often feel on the edge for no particular reason. So the people will complain of swings in mood. This is what typically happens. So if you see these signs in a colleague, please again watch. If you see that he's not performing up to the mark, unlike before, okay, compare him to prior performance. He's just not attending common meeting areas, common room mein akele baith raha hai, isolating himself. The quality of work is reducing. You see that he is having a different mood. He's making very impulsive decisions. Okay, without consulting seniors, he'll just take some decisions, not bother of consequences. Yeah? Or if there is a lot of absentee at work and giving petty excuses again, he's very defensive. He or she is very defensive, very sensitive to feedback. या फिर he or she is having some visible, they look very frail and tired. Moment you see them, you know something's not going right. Okay, please ask them to seek help. Okay, should you be the one giving help? Primary help? No. Understand this sentence. कि you don't have to fix the person. It's not your responsibility. But you could definitely be a bridge for them to find the correct person who will help them fix the problem. Yeah? So, initiate a conversation. Okay, will you ask, तुका अशें जाता, असो ह्या दिसान तूं, so person shouldn't get defensive. तुझ्या मदी problem आसा, person is going to get defensive. Any person will get defensive. So we often get asked, how do we get a person to you? We tell them ki avoid telling them you have a problem. See, nobody likes being told ki you have a problem. Tuka asa ashe issues, especially mental ache. Yeah, nobody likes to tell them. Even the most seasoned player requires a coach. How about hiring a coach for this? How about some value addition? Yeah, so this is one way you could try helping. Another way is just ask them open-ended question. You tell them it's, I'm always there, you're not alone, something like that. Or if someone shares anything with you, say it's not easy to share such an information and I'm very glad you shared it. Let's work on this together. These are some of the ways you start a conversation. Of course, don't jump to giving advice because often the person will feel you've not understood her or him. Yeah? So you would rather leave it for the experts rather than giving advice. You have to be the bridge. Right? The next is give an information. Which information I am going to share with you? There are some resources. How many of you are from Goa here? How many people from Goa? Great, that's a good number. So I am sharing some resources here which you can guide your employees to in Goa. And if you are from another state, yes, this will apply to you as well, some of them. So you could use these resources. Yeah? And of course, once you encourage professional help, make sure you follow up with the person. Ask later. एक बार बोल दिया चलो bye bye टाटा नहीं होता है. It will be nice to follow up. The person also feels कि okay, you are concerned and you are following up. That's very important so that he also keeps you in the loop and in the long run you know how much responsibility really to, how much to involve him. So on that aspect also on operational front you are able to make a more sound decision as his superior colleague. Now we see some doctors, occupational health experts here. What they should be doing is, if you have one in your company, first make sure that you spot the early sign, refer to a higher center which has a psychiatrist or a psychologist by providing something called psychological first aid. Psychological first aid is nothing else but telling him what are you going through, listening to him, not jumping and saying, हे तुझे सगळे मनातले रे. Okay, often people get very defensive when you say हे तुझे सगळे मनातले रे. So just be very careful how you put it. Okay, it has to be told that this is a problem in which you are not alone. We are all there. I am willing to help you get the best resources and guide you further. This is how you could guide them further, the occupational health experts. It could be an HR also. Yeah, and of course, you have to promote an environment which makes them safe to talk about it. This is the most important thing. The person should be able to open up in front of you. Nahi to the topic won't last and nothing will happen further. Yeah. So if you are an organization, the head of an organization, make sure you design some policies. It should be in your protocol. If somebody is going through a mental health crisis, what should be done? Fortunately, the World Health Organization has led some guidelines which you can have a copy printed and kept in your organization. You follow it, meet with an HR. I'll be showing those guidelines to you and accordingly follow those protocols to frame your office protocols for mental health support. So that will be very useful for you as an organization. Do that. Okay? EAPs, employee assessment programs. I don't have to tell you how important it is post-COVID. There are some organizations which have designed special EAPs and they sell online. I'm going to show the sources to you. You can customize your EAP also, right? There are helplines, wellness check-ins. Many companies are actually having no meeting hours or wellness hours which you can actually organize. The co-curricular and meetups are of course one part, but you have to make sure that there are some wellness activities also or support group, peer support groups wherein you are able to discuss freely certain issues and open up with each other. Okay, so this is how can you be a resource. Now I told you which is a good environment and a bad environment. Now I'm going to tell you how can you, if you ask me, what do I do, doctor, if I find such a person? So I have to tell you, if you are a leader and if you are an employee, what you should do. First of all, understand people don't quit work, they quit toxic environments. So make sure the workplace helps people to thrive and not merely survive. That's the most important thing. So what can leaders do is, you yourself could be a role model. Yeah. Now work-life balance, by the way, this work-life balance term is a bit controversial according to me, because if you try to balance, I ask you to put a book on your head and walk here, you'll be more stressed out in those 10 seconds while walking from here to there. So to be very honest with you, I don't agree with this term called work-life balance. You shouldn't be trying to balance. Rather, you should find rice and pudding. Rice milao, milk milao, दोनों मिलके pudding बनाना है. एक अलग, दूसरा अलग, doesn't taste great. थोड़ा सा work में भी beauty लाना है, and the opposite also. That is better. So some role modeling based on that has to be brought. Psychological safety and safe environment. Psychological safety means an environment which encourages free speech about mental health related topics. And it doesn't have to be कि आप seminar रखो and all. Just certain wellness activities, including merely an co-curricular walk or an office outing, anything. So this could be another way of promoting it, or celebrating an important day in the office, somebody, a colleague's important day, everything which we all do. Yeah. Open dialogue, and yes, the last but not the least, normalize mental health leave. Not everyone is going to tell you breakup हो गया, अभी छुट्टी लेनी है, घर बैठना है. People will be extremely shy. But yes, it will be nice if you notice certain signs, looking at the person or the behavior, it will be nice to sit and grab a cup of coffee with the person in the canteen. Yeah. And the next is what employees can do. देखो, काम के वक्त काम करना है, ब्रेक के वक्त ब्रेक लेना है. काम के वक्त पिक्चर नहीं देखना है और ब्रेक के वक्त काम नहीं करना है. स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलो करना है. I get question from my patients, you are a mental health professional, how do you manage yourself? आप पागल नहीं हो जाते क्या? So this is what I tell them. कि भाई मुझे अगर मेरे सामने वाली सीट पे बैठना नहीं है ना एक दिन, तो this is what I have to make sure. Because you have to detach the two parts. If you want to perform the best at work, make the best out of your break and vice versa. गाड़ी में पेट्रोल भरा नहीं तो नहीं भर. So that is how it is going to be. They are going to be your fuels for each other. They have to be taken and compartmentalized separately and seriously. Okay? Stay connected with your colleagues. So a very common way is, the more often some of the best office environments that have been shown are the ones with very good connectivity among the colleagues. Those which did not have a connectivity, it has been shown through research that there were more attritions at such places. So yes, better connectivity with the colleagues is very important. Okay? Be open to seeking help. Do not just keep suffering by yourself alone. ये चला जाएगा, नहीं चला जाएगा. Till you address it. It's not a magical thing. Seek help at the right time. Not taking help at the right time is as good as not taking help at all. Okay? And the last is, you should know where to go, when to go, whom to go to. It's a pity that mental health professional के नाम पे there are all sorts of people available now. Please make sure where you're going. Okay, I really need to caution you guys. Please check the credentials of the people you're going to, the so-called mental health professionals. Please be very careful, because this is one aspect where if you don't meet the right person, it can do more harm to you than good. So please make sure you're seeing the correct person. Yeah, so that is very important. And that's why I have listed a few places, government as well as private, which you could take help in Goa. Okay, so if you have associated professionals with your company, some companies hire psychiatrists or psychologists, of course, please go to them. There will be collaborations or tie-up with professionals. Fine, go to them. If there are any sensitive issues, every companies nowadays, it's mandatory to have an ICC, Internal Complaints Committee. Okay, so such issues have to be brought up there if need be. So please bring it up. The places which don't have an ICC, please make sure you install an ICC in your organization. That's very important. These are some of the government organizations which we have, that is tertiary care is in IPHB Bambolim. Okay, this is the tertiary care institution, and there are district hospitals. So that is in Mapsa and Marga. Of course, there are primary health centers under the district mental health program. Private psychiatrists, psychologists, local NGOs, if you have heard of Sangat or Kuj, these are some of the NGOs which are having facilities. There are some helplines operated by Kuj in Goa, and there is a government program which is called Telemanas. Okay, this program is throughout the country, by the way. So those who are not from Goa as well, keep a note, the helpline number is 14416. It's open 24/7. Any distress, please make a call on this. Okay. For those who are not from Goa, the same places but in your respective districts, of course, and in bigger states, I'm sure there will be more private organizations than government which will be operating for you. So yes, that is also a very important resource that you could have. I won't go through real details of this, but then this is something you can print and keep in your organization, okay, to create your protocols for mental health. These are clear guidelines given by the World Health Organization in telling ki how should mental health at work look like. Okay, so it basically means that you should assess psychological risk. That is there any person indulging into kind of a bullying, harassment, or how are the health? So these are some of the checklists. One is a checklist. If to protect and promote mental health, you have to promote workplace policies. So to design workplace policies, by the way, it will be really nice if you consult professionals to design your policies. There are some companies which are already including psychiatrists and psychologists even in their board of directors or even in their special advisor team, so as to frame these policies. So that can actually be done if possible. Okay, then support to employees with mental health condition. Okay. Like for example, flexible schedules, modification in their workload, and of course non-discriminate. Do not discriminate just because you are going through stress, chalo side mein jao. So this is one thing that people don't like. People don't like others finding out about their condition. So if somebody divulges to you, keep it between the two of you, unless the person says ki chalo, tell it to others. So this is one important aspect you need to be sensitive about for the employee. Okay. Develop individual and organizational resilience में क्या होता है कि these are basically, have you heard of mindfulness? Mindfulness. So mindfulness are basically, it's a technique, it's a here and now grounding technique. कि I have to be present here and now in the moment and dissociate from the past and future and learn to stay in present so as I am able to deliver the best to the present kind of work. These are some of the therapy types which I won't go into the detail, but these are types of techniques you can use in your office with the collaboration with experts. And of course, you can encourage the leaders to see early signs of distress, refer the person to the occupational health therapist. Yeah? Again, you could have something called mental health dashboards. That is, there are certain websites created by certain companies wherein they have certain portals wherein, the HRs and all have designed anonymous surveys about the well-being of the employee. There are some packages also by companies under EAP which can be used to purchase and for use by company, which I'll be showing you later. Okay. Then there are some questionnaires. If you put on Google, what are some of the stress questionnaires? You will find some very commonly used questionnaires like PHQ-9, GAD-7 and all. Okay, there is a burnout scale. It will tell you have answered so many, 8 out of so many questions are pointing. Therefore, your level of burnout is mild, moderate, severe, like that. So it's level of distress. You could use those, answer those, and they will be anonymous completely. That can be used. Okay. There are some companies that promote monthly wellness activities and newsletters also. This can also, you can have a blog or a page, or there could be certain slots on Saturdays or weekends. Saturday. Then there could be peer groups, a peer support system, like one employee is responsible for the wellness of the other and vice versa. This can also be done. And the last is wellness zones. So there will be sometimes like no meeting zones, or silent zones. These are some of the innovative ways people are coming up with. This is not what my suggestions are. These are already things going on, which is why I'm putting it. These are not my ideas. Okay. Acha, this is an important page for you. If you are an HR of a company, please keep this in mind. If you wish to have EAPs, employee assessment, employee wellness programs here, you can always go through these websites. There is one place called one-to-one-health.net. This is a site wherein there is an individual counseling sessions available. So you could actually take help of these things. Then there is Silver Oak Health. They focus again on counseling sessions and providing packages for employee awareness programs. You can purchase these subscriptions based on your requirements. Then there is True Earth Wellness, Bajaj Allianz EAP, and have you heard of Headspace? Headspace, apps like Headspace, many people can use these apps like Headspace, wherein you have different techniques like meditation, wellness programs, daily check-ins. You can actually use these. And if you feel that outsourcing is not possible, आपके budget में नहीं बैठ रहा है या फिर आपको पसंद नहीं आ रहा है या फिर whatever is your reason, customize it for your company, design it with the help of a local psychiatrist or a psychologist, get it designed. Okay, of course, ensure all employees that 100% confidentiality will be maintained, otherwise nobody is going to come. Some companies have a tie-ups, you call a psychologist and then they have certain number of sessions and also this can actually be hired. Okay. Some emergency contacts, therapists and helplines can be laid hands. Like for example, Telemanus. Everybody should know the helpline number of Telemanus. I repeat, it's 14416. Anybody in distress, please pass on the Telemanus helpline number. Okay. And of course, make sure you help the colleagues through internal HR channels, onboarding and team meetings into these sessions, right? So the last but not the least is everybody's responsibility. Whoever is in your organization, it's not just an employer or a leader's responsibility. You have to look for each other while you look out for yourself. Yeah. And the next is always stitch in time saves 9. So rather than managing a crisis, you would rather act fast, catch someone fast and get help for him or her fast. And the last, of course, you should be an example of a space which promotes psychological safety. We saw fire safety, here will be psychological safety. So this is very important for you. And thank you very much. If there are any comments, you could always ask me. Thank you very much.